Good morning. Welcome to the Daily Whatever Show. I am Dana Dubois.
I'm Lawrence Winterman.
Lovely to see you this morning, best friend.
Mm, Lovely to see you, best friend.
We
Best
have a lot.
friend.
Ah, boy, it sounds so threatening when you say it like that.
Right?
Lawrence, we have a lot of ground to cover about this week, but I thought we should.
Bullshit. I think you meant to say bull. We got a lot of bullshit to cover about this week.
Well, I mean, the first two things I think we should talk about are your story and my story. We kind of posted, I don't want to say sibling stories because that's way too cutesy about such a hard topic.
Right.
But we each published a story about if in response to the CNN story last week about the online rape academy. And every time I say that or type it, a part of me inside still dies,
I
Lawrence.
For real. I told you this. You shared the link. I went and read the article and I literally wanted to vomit. Like it made me
Yeah,
so angry and sick that I had to write the article that I wrote in response because I
yeah.
mean, I am a feminist. I would like to consider myself an ally to women in all things, and have felt that way my entire fucking life. But like
Yeah.
in the moment of reading that article, it was just so clear to me. Like men, we are failing. All of us, every single man on the entire planet is failing every woman on the entire planet. Like we are failing. And
Yes.
any man who isn't willing to say that and stand up and make a difference is complicit. Like there's just no
Yes.
gentler, nicer way to say it. You're complicit.
Yes. And I used that same word, complicit. I used it in the subhead of my story and throughout. Um, I similarly had a really strong reaction to this story. I don't understand how anyone could read this story and not have their part of their humanity die. I
Uh,
mean, it's
Truly.
just it's so um it's so awful. And the way I process things is to write about them because I tend to feel just the first. But I knew this was more than just a story about sexual assault and rape. And it was really in the process of writing it that I felt like I processed mine. And it was in my mind, I was like, this is a really bad week to need to like go into that space, Dana, and like write because it kind of consumes me. And we have this big show coming on Friday that we'll talk about. But I was like, I posted a bunch of notes and was like, inadequate. I need to fully process what this moment means.
Hmm.
And where I came out on was like how profoundly like the gut punch we're all feeling is because the layers of desecration that are happening with these rapes get
Yeah.
right to where women are supposed to feel safest, like at
Yep.
home with our partners and in our own minds, right? And these men, that these partners of these women are taking all of that away with the succession of acts, the drugging them against their, without them knowing about it, the raping them without them knowing about it, but then the filming and the sharing and the community and the monetizing, like every layer of that is just further desecrating
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
sense, any sense of safety we could have.
I think it's triggering for me in many ways, but one, I've been very honest about being, kind of not kind of an adult survivor of childhood sexual assault, and also I was in a relationship where my partner videoed the house without me
Oh
knowing
my
about it,
gosh, that's right, Lawrence.
and
I, yeah.
so those things in combination really really hit a very kind of tender triggering area, and you're right, like it's the taking, it's the
Yeah.
stealing of the sort of perception of ultimate safety. I'm safe at
Mm.
home with my loving partner, and turning that into the ultimate betrayal, like the deepest, biggest, most
Yes.
severe betrayal.
And then the like next layer on it is the way that so many men, and not you, and not loads of other men who I know and have grown to have great fondness for here on Substack, but so many men are challenging what happened by making this a data question.
Oh my
That's
God,
that's the next
honestly,
layer of injury. And I do want to preface it by saying I think CNN was a little fast and loose with how they represented the data in this
for
story.
sure.
Like, it's not that these men don't have this much of a point, right? And I'm not making fun of their dicks here. I'm just because people usually say like,
Leave that to me, sweetie. I'll do that part.
right? It's this
The
idea
gay
that
dude goes after, yeah, like, I know why you're arguing, sir. It's called 3 inches. We all understand.
sigh. We've all been disappointed by you, sir. No,
Right,
I
right.
don't want to
Everyone,
body
all
shame
of us
men
have been
here.
disappointed by you, sir.
Um, uh, it's like yes, they put that 62 million number out there, and a lot of people jumped to it's 62 million men, which it was not. It's 62 million page views, and it was page views to the site, not to this subset. And so they had compelling data without muddying the waters.
Right,
The number that stays is there are over 20,000 of these videos.
right.
20,000 videos of
And a
women
thousand men active on the site, sharing the content. Like,
in the little community, but those videos are being consumed far more broadly.
exactly. Yep.
So I do think CNN was a little fast and loose. I also think pivoting the conversation to the data is 100% the wrong first reaction.
So
It's not, yeah,
you posted it, I posted it.
yeah,
Like, sir, if your first reaction is to come to defense of the data and not to
hmm,
come to defense of the women, you are doing it wrong.
yes,
You're just doing it wrong. Like, I
right.
don't fucking care.
It's one
Like
is
you and
always
I,
too many.
looking
Yeah,
at our careers, we web data, we get it. Dana and I
yeah,
have been in tech for 25 years. We know, but
right.
do not come at me with the data when this
Yeah,
thing is happening. Like, that's willfully missing the point as far as I'm concerned.
it is. It's to the point of absurdity. It's
Right.
just, and I do feel like there's a gendered component on this, which I really came to as I was writing the essay and included, which is there's this masculine feminine thing that happens of men are logical and correct, and that's what they're doing when they're throwing down these data numbers.
Sure.
Women are emotional. You're just responding. You get so upset. You're not able to think clearly, and therefore you're wrong. Right? That's what they're saying when they're arguing with the data points that are out there. And to that I say, math isn't gendered. The data is not gendered, but if you are not having an emotional reaction to this situation, then sir, you are wrong.
Right.
Like, feelings are always okay, and if you're not feeling them about the profundity of how horrendous this is, you have a problem. But that is what they're doing. They're trying to be like, there, little lady, you're just getting emotional. Here are some numbers, and that puts me back in my correct masculine energy, my logical energy. And
Right. Right.
to
That's
that I say,
absolutely what they're trying to do.
yeah. And we are not hysterical. We are not losing our minds. We are angry. We are disgusted. We are fearful. We are all these things, but that doesn't make us wrong in
Yep.
any way, shape, or form, right? Like, so I'm sure this is I think this triggers all of us. Like I say in my story, I am thankfully not, I have not been raped, but I don't know any woman who has not had, can we call it rape adjacent moments in their dating lives, if they're dating men and having sex with men. And it triggers all of us. Like, none of us know if we're in one of those videos, really. If
Right.
it can happen at home, if you have in any way been asleep next to a partner, it's possible it's you. It is least within the realm of possibility. and you wouldn't know it, right?
Right.
So I wanted to just highlight that we've both written these stories. They're both getting um, traction, a lot of responses, let's say. And here's something that's amazing me, Lawrence. I don't know if have you had any negative, like red pillars pop on yours? I haven't had a one.
No, I haven't either, which makes me wonder, like, if
Yeah,
it's being suppressed in such a way that they're not seeing it. I'm grateful for the reactions that I've gotten, and I'm glad that none of them have been overtly terrible. Um,
same.
we
I keep
should really bring our guest on.
We should really bring our guest on. We have a wonderful guest, and as right before we bring her on, I do just want to say, it is our birthday week.
It is.
It is our birthday week, and Friday we're having a huge show. Please mark your calendars that it will be an extra hour. It will be from 10 to noon East Coast time, and we have 18 guests coming on. The Daily Whatever Shows account just shared the graphic. We will all be sharing and talking about this a ton over the next few days, but this is going to be one for the ages, y'all. And we'll talk about that more tomorrow at the start.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to point out this is all due to Dana. This is all Dana's work. She asked me what we should do, and I was like, I don't know, nothing. I'm busy. My side project is launching today at 2 p.m. Like, I'm so busy. And she's like, no,
Right.
we're going to have a party, which is great because she's organizing it. And Dana's parties are always awesome, and my parties are always lame. So this one is going to be for the ages because it's 100% Dana, and she always throws excellent parties.
You are so
Um,
cute, Lawrence. Your parties are fabulous because you're an amazing cook. So don't even get at me. Your parties are good, but this will be great. And you know what else is going to be great? Kristina and Willis. Hello. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Good
I,
morning.
Good
Thank you so
good.
morning.
much for having me.
I saw you nodding along as we were talking. So we'd love to have you introduce yourself to the audience, and then I would love to hear your thoughts because I suspect you have some about all of this
I
and
do.
what
I
what
do.
what we're feeling.
Oh my
And
gosh,
I've
your
got a
cat is
cat
being
right in front of the
very
camera.
cheeky today.
So cute.
We're very pet friendly here on the Daily Whatever Show. Y'all, Katrina just, I feel like it's almost like a birth announcement. Your book is born. You just had a book.
I did. Here
Oh
it
my
is.
gosh.
Oh my
I
gosh.
There's a
I
little
am
booger on my cover, but
I love
I
it.
thought it was a beauty mark.
perfect. That's what I'm going to call it now. Such
Yeah,
a
you
beautiful
should.
cover.
Hurricane lessons. Katrina, can you introduce yourself to the group? I'm about to jump in and I am not gonna do as good a job of this as you are. This is your first time on the Daily Whatever Show. We are
Oh,
new to each other. You kind of reached out to me, I don't know, a week ago, and then bam, here we are.
I did. I did. I
Yeah.
was so excited that you were so responsive, but I saw you
Oh my God.
online and your lovely face, and I thought, I got to reach out to this girl and make
Well,
a connection. So
I'm so glad that you did. I am in awe of anyone who brings a book to life,
Mm.
and especially memoir. So I'm thrilled to talk about this with you today. But first, we need some introductions. Tell the folks in the chat 30 seconds at least about who you are and what we're here to talk about today.
you bet. So I am Katrina Ann Willis, and this is actually my second book, but my first memoir. My first book came out in 2016, and it's called Parting Gifts, and it's literary fiction. And then I worked on this one for about 10 years, and it is
Wow.
the story of my coming out. I was married to a man um, that I dated in high school, so went straight from my mother's home into this home with my high school sweetheart. And
Wow.
we were together for 32 years, married for 25.
Oh my
And
goodness.
yeah, and 22 years into the marriage, I kind of fell into this obsession with my Pilates instructor. And
Mm.
so I had to do a lot of thinking and reckoning with what that meant. And my then husband said, if you need to date women, go ahead and date women. Let's figure this out. And we went through a lot of dating alone and dating together and having threesomes. And it was all kind of a crazy story, which is why my book is called Hurricane Lessons, because there's before the storm, and then after the storm. We both
Oh,
became, people that we didn't necessarily know we were. And my backstory too involves a lot of abuse, which is why I was nodding. And I was sexually assaulted as a child and raped as a college co-ed. And so many people have those stories, right? And so this whole Rape Academy story, I haven't even been able to write about it yet. So kudos to both of you for being able to put pen to paper and say something
of
really
course.
about it. Yeah. So.
Of course. Yeah, the pace at which one, well, first of all, thank you for sharing your story. And I'm so sorry part of the latter part of that happened to you. I'm so glad the other parts of it happened to you. It sounds like you and your former husband left a lot of space for exploration without fear, although I'm sure there was a lot of we'll dive into the kind of emotions that came along for both of you around all of that. But the pace at which one writes is really interesting to me. And you've made a couple of comments about that. I also write creative nonfiction. And you said, I'm not ready to write about this story yet. Do you ever write shorter form essays where you're able to respond to the news quickly? This is not a story I plan to, or question I plan to ask, but I'm curious because it's something I struggle with as a writer, where like, it tends to take me a long time to bring something up and out. And so when I'm trying to hit something that's timely and having a cultural moment, boy, it's I have these opposing forces I have to battle. What's it like for you?
I would say it's the same for me. And I always kind of feel like it's a race because I knew there would be so many people writing about this story. And, it was going to be noisy. And so did I have something to contribute to that conversation? Did I have something different to say? And I think that I do, but I don't quite know how to articulate it yet. So yes, responding quickly to a story like this is harder than just having, kind of a random experience and writing about it quickly. I tend to write quickly, but responding to something takes me a little bit longer to process and think about what my unique take is on it. So those
100%.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm the same way. I think with this one, it hit at a moment and it hit some places I'd already kind of been primed to write about it, and this was just like the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, and kind of removed the floodgates so that I just kind of spilled onto the page. But it's hard for me too to kind of, if something timely is happening, to really process it and turn it around in a quick way. I think it's real talent when people can do that, and I suspect that. Well, I don't know. I don't want to hypothesize about people's skills and abilities. I tend to think like my hunch would be that like the deeper you go in your regular writing, the harder it is to turn something out really fast, right? I think what I'm sensing is for all three of us, there's a lot of emotional processing that goes into writing.
Mm-hmm.
And with something as big as this news story it's a lot of emotions to process.
And this story too came on the heels of my memoir release. So I'm having this vulnerability hangover anyway. This whole story is out there.
Yes.
My family's reading it. My friends are reading it. Hoping that it, surpasses those layers and gets into the hands of people who need it. But that inner layer is hard. It's hard to know that those people are reading it. And so I couldn't even write about the release of my book yet. And it's been a couple of weeks, but I'm not there with that either. It's just
damn news cycle. Took you 10 years to get this book out, and they're like, I think about this all the time. It's actually one of the like guiding principles of my own memoir publication, my primary one here in Substack, which is called I Write Out Loud. I just launched it a couple months ago because I found like it's so hard to write about personal content when the world is on fire, right?
Yeah.
And it would, for me, it's an audacious statement of like, no, storytelling is what moves the world. Art is important. Go do it. So go promote your book. I'm glad you're here today, so we can be like your I don't know, I was going to say like you're encouraging, and I was going to insert a family member, and I'm like, my family members are not encouraging, so that's not holding true for me. But like your besties, maybe your muses that are like, go put it out in the world, go talk about it, like we're about to do. I will say that I feel like platforms influence me as a writer a lot. Like I started on Medium, and Medium does not want to hear about current events. They declined to boost my story, that one we were just talking about, and that one's making, for me at least, a pretty big impact on Substack. Um, and the notes function on Substack has gotten me to be more of a quick, responsive, creative writer
Right.
in these very micro storytelling ways. And I'm hoping it starts nudging me to be quicker about processing and turning out fully articulated stories in a timely way. What are your goals on Substack? What brought you here, and how have you found it?
Sure. Yeah. I was a, I hate the term mommy blogger, right? When my kids were growing up. So I've always written online and I've told stories about my kids and my family. And obviously my stories are very different now. Um,
Mhm.
so I came to Substack. I've never been on Medium. I haven't done Patreon. There's lots of different platforms that
Yes.
kind of, quite frankly, overwhelm me, right? And so um, I knew a lot of people who were on Substack. And so I came here because it felt like a safe place. And it's becoming a little less safe with some of the people who are being
It is.
platformed now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's a whole.
Andrew fucking Tate.
Right.
Yes.
Thanks, Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
So your Substack is called Surrendering to Sappho. I just posted the link in the chat. Um, Tell us about the name. I mean, it certainly,
I
gives
love
us
it.
some clues, right? But I'm most curious about the word surrender.
Yeah.
Yes, part of writing this process or this book was the process of figuring out. Obviously, a late bloomer. It takes me a long time to figure things out, but the surrender was. I've been fighting this my whole life, right? I grew up in a small Midwestern town. I was Catholic, raised very Catholic, went to Catholic school. There were no names and no
Mm.
representation for who I was. I didn't even have the language. I was a tomboy. I played sports with all the boys. That's kind of who I was as a kid. But all of my cousins and my aunts and uncles were married to men, or not my uncles, but my aunts were married to men. My uncles were married to women. There was no representation for who I
Right.
might have been. And so when I fell into this obsession with my Pilates teacher, it was like a lightning bolt. Truly, like I was on the reformer and she touched my back and I thought, whoa. And it kind of came out of nowhere for me. But looking back, it all made so much sense. And sometimes I
Right.
think, how did I not know this? And some cousins have said, well, we've always known. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me then?
Right.
It would have been helpful if
Oh
I
my
had.
God.
And
Yeah.
even my former husband always alluded to the fact, he said, if you ever leave me, I think you're going to leave me for a woman. So there were so many signs. And so for me, it was a surrender to who I actually was when I had been surrendering myself to what everyone else had expected and wanted me to be
Mm.
at that point.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Dana and I are Gen X, and I suspect that you're possibly maybe close to us in age. And I think that for queer folks of our generation, speaking as a gay man who, I didn't come out until I was 23, and
Yeah.
that felt crazy late. But I like similar experiences where I told some people, and some people were like, "Oh yeah, I always kind of suspected," and I was like, "Well, Jesus, why didn't you tell me?" Like I,
it's been so helpful, right?
right? It really would have helped me out to have somebody to talk to, and also, like when you were speaking about your experience, it really resonated because I also didn't feel like I had role models or even just any kind of roadmap of it was like the token gay laugh character on a TV show, and that was it,
Right.
right? And
Absolutely.
I looked at that and I was like, well, that's not me. But
Right.
there weren't a lot of other places where I felt like I fit in. So I get it. Like for queer folks of our generation, it was a struggle to figure out who am I and where do I fit into things.
Yeah.
And
And
I
even
should add,
don't know. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dana. Sorry.
Just sorry to jump in very quickly. Lawrence and I have known each other since the 4th grade. We have been best friends for many, many decades. And yeah, I didn't know. Um, yeah, I didn't know either. I was like, Lawrence is just waiting to meet the right woman.
Well, that's in a heteronormative society, that's kind of what we're all expected to do.
Right.
And the language around it was so important to me too. And I wrote about in my book how, like you said, Lawrence, gay was a character on a TV show. It was funny and it was the punchline. And my sister and I weren't allowed to say queer, so we called each other quee. We just kind of skirted around all of the things that were who I actually am.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it's been a journey.
Dana, I was waiting to meet the right woman. She needed to be able to hammer a 6-inch spike through a board with her penis. That's
right. Girls got to have her standards. Girls got to have her standards. I do want to say thank you to everyone in the chat. They're weighing in with all kinds of wonderful comments. I see Politics and Aphrodisiacs. I love your username. Says, thank God you didn't choose to stay closeted your whole life. That would be torture. Thank you. There's so many comments weighing in, just kind of plus oneing everything you're saying. And I do want to ask the chat to click on that little heart button. I know I feel like I'm like an obnoxious YouTuber when I'm like, smash that heart. But it does signal to Substack that we're having a great conversation over here. So let's bring the folks over. You'd think that they would do it because we have such an active chat, but that doesn't seem to do the trick like smashing the hearts does. So please send Katrina all of your hearts. When did you know you needed to write a book about this? Or how did you determine you needed to write a book about this?
I think I've just always been a person who wants to be understood and to understand other people. Like that's kind of at the core of me. I wrote my first autobiography when I was 8. My mom kept it for me. It's a little construction paper book that is such a treasure to have now. But I've always written my stories down. I've always journaled. So I journaled my way through this divorce and my coming out. And the book started out to be a memoir and essays because that's kind of how I had written it down. And then it eventually became a narrative. But I had to put it out there because it was the book that I needed, and so I'm hoping that it reaches the people that need. I have 4 kids too. I've neglected to mention that when I introduced myself, and they're grown kids now, but it was a big thing to tell them who I am. And they were older when it happened and supportive, but that's a big thing for your parents to divorce and your mom to come out at the same time. It was a lot. So I wanted them to understand. Of course, none of them have read the book. Before I published it, I said, if any of you want to read it and give me feedback, please do. And they were all like, Mom, it's your life. We don't.
Right.
Did it feel like
I don't want to read about my mom having sex?
None of it.
Right.
Did it feel like indifference, or did it feel more like I don't need to know that about my mom?
I think I don't need to know that about my mom. Yes. When I came out to them, we gathered them. My oldest was in college, and so we Skyped him into the conversation, and I had to write a letter because I knew I would cry. So I was reading the letter to my kids about who I was. And at that time, my ex-husband and I had decided we were going to be the best divorced parents in the world and co-parent, and he was going to walk me down the aisle again someday. It did not end up that way. I can tell you that. Definitely. But they were just so supportive. They said, we're just so happy that you are who you are. And I think we raised them to be pretty liberal, open-minded kids. And so that was a relief. We've hit some bumps, throughout the journey for sure. And I had a period where my daughter didn't speak to me for 6 months, which was excruciating. But it was more about how things were handled. It got ugly. So I understand.
What is the kind of time frame that we're talking about? So, 5 years, 10 years, what is kind of from then to now, what is the duration?
It's been 10 years. I came out in 2016 when I was 46. So, and it took my
you're
exactly the same age. 1970? Are we all 1970? Wow.
I'm guessing you're a Taurus. Am I right?
Oh, I'm a Pisces.
Oh my God, I'm a Pisces too. March
You
9th.
March 20th.
Okay.
Oh my
Yay,
gosh.
Pisces.
Hey,
Okay.
Pisces.
Wow. Wait, the 9th and the 20th. So you guys are just 11 days apart.
11 days
Hmm.
apart.
You're basically the same person
We are,
astrologically, is what I'm hearing.
we are twins, I think.
Yeah.
Lawrence is
Okay.
my long lost brother.
Well, I won't say where you are, but I think you're just down the road from me. I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana. You
Oh,
need not say where you are, but from what I've
it's
read
okay.
in your bio, I think we're, Midwest neighbors.
We are. And I grew up in Indiana. I live in Kentucky now, but I grew up
Okay.
in Indiana. So
Yeah, I'm in Fort Wayne, so
yeah, I sure know Fort Wayne. Lots of people there.
yeah. Here's kind of a weird technical question. I read on your Substack that you did your own voiceover. You did your own narration for your biography. And what was that like?
It was my favorite part of this whole book.
Okay, cool. Because
It
I'm
was
imagining trying to do that and like bursting into tears every 3 minutes, right? So,
well, that happened too.
okay,
But my publisher wanted me to do my own narration because it's a memoir, and I think there's just so much more intimacy to an author doing their own narration.
for
So
sure.
they sent me to Connecticut to Tantor Studios, and I had a full week because I'm a newbie, right? And I'm sure they thought, well, we don't know how this is going to go. But I was able to finish it in 3 days, but there was a lot of emotion. Um, Unexpectedly, I thought I had read it before because I read everything out loud just to check for typos.
Sure.
And of course,
Yeah.
there are still some this time around when I read it again. I've still found some that are in the published book. But I loved the experience of it so much that I kind of want to go into audio narration now. So I'm building a little side gig to
Yeah.
do
Oh,
that.
I'm taking a class. I'll
It's
send you the
amazing.
link.
Okay.
Ooh,
Okay.
Lawrence, send it to me too. I didn't know you were taking a class.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's an online class, but it's
Yeah, I figured.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
fantastic.
I
And P
want to take
Mitchell
that class too.
told us the guy, and I went and it's one of those like
Oh, she did.
$49 and you get his online Kajabi class and whatever. But
Love
it's
it.
really cool so far.
I bought
I'm
all
a
the equipment, so I have my little studio set up in my closet.
Nice.
A closet to do
right.
audio narration.
Right. Going back into the closet for work
Right.
this time.
Do you have this microphone?
I do. I have a really nice microphone and the audio Vox kind of hood that covers, I will be sweating profusely as I narrate, but
Right. Right. But it'll be worth it because you get to
exactly.
work from your home.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Lawrence, I'm excited that you're doing it too. We'll have to compare notes.
Yeah,
You
for
both have
sure.
excellent voices for it. Like,
You really have a great voice for this, Katrina. Like
Thank you. So
yeah,
do you. I agree.
thanks.
yeah,
It's
I
so
Um,
read my own essays, but I don't have the voice that I keep telling Lawrence he needs a side hustle as an ASM artist, that he should have one of those YouTube channels like, hi.
and tapping.
Yeah, 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 exactly.
right,
Like,
scratching the mic and yeah.
hello, you are getting very sleepy.
So you did the recording yourself, and it sounds like it was emotional, but it was your favorite part. Like what piece of it made it your favorite part of the whole process?
I think it was just that connection back to myself and my
Yeah.
own words. And I should have done it beforehand because I couldn't get over the amount of times I said wound. Wound is in the book so many times. And it was like a giant red flashing light every time I had to read it. But I just loved, I don't really listen to audiobooks, or I didn't before, and I am now. But the last one I listened to was Belle Burden's Strangers.
Mm.
And she's very, it's a very monotone kind of recording. So I'm afraid that I didn't put enough emotion into it. I kind of wish I could go back and have a do-over because I wasn't quite sure how to do it. But I just loved that. I loved being in that quiet, intimate space
Mm.
and really like getting back into the emotions. And like you said, Lawrence, I cried. I had to stop. I had to blow my nose and regroup. But there was just a little audio engineer sitting outside the studio, and it was just he and I, and it was just a lovely experience.
That sounds amazing. Did
Yeah,
they let you stay for the entire week, even though you finished early?
I did. I did. Yes, yes, and went back in for some corrections later on, and yeah, like
Nice. Okay. I
and
mean,
just
I'm like, so you got a vacation? You got like a 4-day vacation out of it?
I did. It was lovely. And the weather was cold and a little dreary, but that's okay. It was a great experience. Yeah.
Nice.
Wow. As someone who has aspirations to one day publish a book, can you talk through that experience a bit of finding the right publisher and kind of how to take that book from what's private and in your home and get it out, published it into the world? What's that been
Sure.
like?
This one has been, so I was published by Sibylline Press, which is a press
Yes.
that publishes women over 50. So first and foremost,
Ooh,
loved their model. I loved that they were, the amount of years that they have combined in publishing is amazing. These 4 founders. I love their whole mission, publishing brilliant women over 50. I love that it was woman focused. I loved that it was older age focused because there's
yes.
Dana,
discrimination.
we just found your publisher.
And when I submitted to them, the acquisitions editor immediately responded and said, me, I want it. So she was
Oh.
such a cheerleader from the get-go. And she said, we will hold this story very gently and carefully, and we will support you. And we know politically it's not the best time to be publishing a queer memoir, and we've got you. So I just felt held from the
Oh,
which was really special.
that's
Yeah.
amazing. Did you send them a completed manuscript, or did you send them like, these are the first couple chapters, here's my outline? Like, where were you in the process? And I literally am asking because
Because yes,
Curious, just random
memoir.
curiosity.
For memoir and fiction, typically it's a completed manuscript. If you're doing like a reported memoir, then sometimes you can get away with an outline and a couple of sample chapters.
Yeah.
But I had the whole proposal. I had everything done, and the proposal was a beast, Dana. So just be prepared. Like that almost killed me.
Yes. Yes. Yep, I have one in mind that I'm planning to write with a friend. We launched a music website in Seattle in the early 2000s, and we want to write a book about the experience. So it will be part memoir and part musical anthology of an era that's kind of lost, Seattle of the aughts, but also this cultural moment of right before technology exploded and business exploded around being a creator online, and sort of why we ended, because those things didn't exist, but how like precious that time frame is. Because if you think back to like 2000 to 2007, if you ever try to like find an email or find a photo or music, if you were following like indie bands from that era, they don't exist anymore, right? Because we were all living in the real spaces. It was right before the iPhone and Twitter and first came about. And anyhow, we were hiring someone to help us pull a proposal together, because I know somebody here who does that, and we're like, we have never done that before. And it sounds like it is a beast of a process. So
it sounds like a very cool book, though. I'm ready to buy it. So
okay.
Tell me. Do you live in Seattle?
I do live in Seattle, yeah. And Lawrence used to, but he moved.
I did for many years, but I moved back home because Mom is 84, and
yes, I understand.
help. I'm curious, is it okay if we kind of dive back into the story of the memoir a little bit?
Absolutely.
I'm so captured. So I haven't read it yet, but I'm really excited to read it now. And the way that you described it is, and you talk about this on your Substack a little bit, but the Pilates instructor, right? And that moment of touch. And I'm so curious, right? Because it is, and I mean, it's a selfish curiosity. It's very different from my queer experience, which was sort of a like always longing for the male body and not being able to talk about that. But it sounds like yours was almost like you said, a bolt from the blue, like a flash of sort of like, oh my God, like information just got downloaded into me. I'm just curious about that experience and about sort of what happened next.
Sure. Yeah. I'm thinking about that time that was so intense. And so, and an obsession is really the best word I can use to describe what I felt about my Pilates instructor. And she was a friend before, and also the mother of my daughter's best friend. So there were lots of, yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Yeah, which is
I have two daughters, so I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay.
yeah. And we were new to the town, so she was one of the first friends that I made there.
Okay.
So we had spent time together before that day in the Pilates studio. We'd had Pilates classes together as well, but there was just this moment of touch that it was like a bolt that just awakened me. And so we continued to spend time together, while on the other end, my ex-husband and I were discussing, like, what does this mean to you? What is this all about? Do you want to be with her? Do you want to be with women? And I was spending evenings drinking wine with her at her house and trying to figure things out. And she was straight, had never been with a woman before, which is, not the best situation ever. And it took a good year to kind of work through all of those feelings for her and what that meant to me. And it ended up being a very toxic situation,
Mm.
but I'll always be grateful for her as serving as a catalyst for me to figure out who I really was and really am. So, and then it all made sense when I started thinking about camp counselors when I was young that I had crushes on, and basketball teammates that, I'd be jealous if they had another friend or added to our friend group. And everything just sort of clicked into place once I had the words and the
Right.
experience of it.
Right. Yeah. Wow. I have had similar-ish sounding experiences of, the attraction that kind of turns toxic, and I'm like, could I speak calmly about that as calmly as Christina is doing right now? I, sorry, Katrina. I apologize for getting your name wrong there.
Okay.
Um, I I don't know that I could. Like, I don't know that I could speak calmly about that, even in the retrospect, right? How are you
Right.
doing it?
Um, I had to go no contact with her after a bit, but it became
Mm.
toxic just for me, but for my children and their first and foremost, who I needed to protect. So there's been enough distance, I think, that's why I can speak calmly about it. But I can feel my blood pressure elevating a little bit when I talk about it, because
Okay,
it was a
we can move on.
yeah.
Um, I'm
I'm
so sorry. I just want to point out, Dana and I have a really good friend named Katrina. Sorry, Christina. I don't know why I'm messing up so bad.
It's
And
okay.
she's coming into town on Thursday, and I get to have dinner with her. So I'm looking
so
at your
jealous.
name and thinking, yeah. So
You're
my
excited.
apologies if I've
Yes.
misnamed you several times
It's
now.
okay. My
Yes.
stepfather
Christina
called
is
me
on my
Christina
mind.
for some.
Christina was my college roommate, so I'm very
Oh,
jealous. And we have all not lived in the same city since then, really. So we only see her. I haven't seen her in
And
years, so I'm so
Dana loves to
jealous.
remind me that I came out to Christina before I came out to her. So,
Right? Right? Can you believe it? It was,
yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
know. And
fine.
now you're having dinner with her.
right.
It's a
I
lot of
know.
betrayal, Lawrence.
No, it's all good. Give her a big hug from me. Christina is one of the most competent humans I have ever met in my life.
What a
She's,
lovely description.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's
only
so
a
true.
fraction of who she is, but also hugely
One of my most
impactful.
vivid memories of her is, back in the 90s in, college or just after college, visiting her, and she was like, I need to put together a resume. And she broke out like this drafting table with like a grid and so many rulers and like T squares and like
What? Really?
literally laying out her resume, printing it like on the printer, but then also like afterwards doing all of this stuff with it to make sure that like the bullets were 100% aligned.
Really? That
Yeah,
sounds like
and I was just
Christina.
like, you are
Right.
taking things to a level that I like. As a Pisces, I'm not sure that I can manifest that kind of organization. Like that just is beyond me.
Oh my gosh. I have a question about one of the main characters in your book and in your life, and that's your ex-husband, your high school sweetheart. Is it okay to ask about?
Absolutely. You can ask
Okay,
me whatever you'd like.
And I will say, as a parallel, I am also divorced from the father of my kids, my ex-husband, for many, many years now, and we have a very strong co-parenting relationship. But it was hard, hard one. That transition period is challenging. Um, Walk us through how that went, because from your intro, it sounded like he was quite supportive of exploring your sexuality, the framework of your relationship. I assume it started as a monogamous traditional marriage because that's what we all did back in the day. Um, how were things then? And it sounds like there's been a rupture. So how did it devolve? If you're okay talking about that, and where are you now with the book out?
Sure.
Three-part question.
That's a big question. It's a lot to cover.
And as much as you feel comfortable sharing,
No,
truly.
it's fine. It's all in the book too. So it's not like it's not out there. I'm trying to figure out how to encapsulate it. He was very supportive at the beginning of me figuring out who I was, but he also wanted to be a part of it. And as we started to open up our marriage, and there were threesomes, and there was dating around, and it got messy, and it was hard for me to see him with another woman, which I know sounds like such um, a contradiction, right? Because I was with a woman, but it felt like a replacement to me, just a one woman for another woman. And I was really exploring who I was, not versus who.
I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he brought a woman in really early. Said he would never date anybody that lived locally or that had kids. He didn't want any of that. She had all of those things, and asked me to leave our so that they could consummate their dating. And it just was too much for me too soon. And again, he gave me a lot of space, which I appreciate, but that wasn't enough space for me. And so it just devolved from there. It became just awful fighting and arguing, not understanding. And then I realized too that there was a part of him, because we're all humans and there's lots of different pieces and parts of us, that was always a little bit controlling and abusive, that really came out. And for the first time in our lives, he physically put hands on me during this transition, and that was just it for me. And we don't have a relationship now. He's remarried. He's still involved with the kids in his way. I'm obviously involved with the kids in my way. And we are civil to each other when we're all together, like at college graduations and things. But we both lost a lot of respect for each other. And I will never say that I'm innocent of, I was just as, there were many things that I did that I wish I'd done differently. But it devolved pretty quickly and pretty thoroughly.
Yeah.
So sorry to hear that.
Been through the process of opening up a relationship, and I think it's become such a, I don't know, cliche or such sort of a modern trope. People don't understand the magnitude of complication. I mean, I think you can imagine the magnitude of complication, but until you're actually doing it, you're like, oh God, like there's this specific thing that is very, very upsetting and annoying to me. And I recognize that I'm being selfish, and yet it just is.
It is. It is. Because we're humans. We don't know how we're going to respond to a situation until we're in it.
Yeah.
I think we both thought we were going to handle it really well, that we were evolved and we were going to be able to do this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's like that fantasy that you tell each other at the beginning and yourself of, like, oh, well, we love each other. Like, you're always going to be first. And, and and then you get into it and you're like, oh, but I really want to fuck this person right here, right now. Could you leave the house for a couple of minutes?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It brought out the worst of both of us, I think.
Yeah.
And we certainly didn't expect that.
Have been there. Not proud.
Me neither.
Right.
Nor would I necessarily recommend, it seems strange to say that we were fucking other people to try to decide if we should stay together. In hindsight, I'm like, how did we ever think that was going to be the answer? but we did think
What
that.
it does kind of make sense though, because, well, in your case, you had to figure out your sexuality. So you were looking to it as, can I be with a man for the rest of my life? But he was looking at it as, oh, I would like more of the same.
Yes.
And that was hard for you.
Which was that little piece that, yes, stuck in my craw for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I see both sides of that, of like, he was probably like, I'm giving you what you need. You need to give me what I need. And also what you both were getting out of it were very different needs. And I feel like there's so much vocabulary around this now. Like, I am monogamous by nature. I've never been in an open relationship, but I know a lot of people who do. Out here in Seattle, it's almost more than feels like it's more the norm. And I listen to Dan Savage religiously. I feel like there's so much more language. There's actual vocabulary, and also there's just ways of doing it, and that probably make it easier than it was 10 years ago, even when you and your husband were trying. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. When we did this and opened this up, my best friend was in an open marriage and handled it very well. And she said, you'll get to a point that's called compersion, where you are just happy for your partner. And I never got there. So I'm a monogamous person. This isn't like working for me. But that was the only language I had around open marriage at that point too. And so I agree that it's kind of the topic of every other book and every other conversation.
Yes.
Have a non-monogamous relationship.
So now
you are into compersion, but I need a lot of structure and framework in place to be able to get there.
Yes. And good for you for being able to get there. I just couldn't. And I still can't embrace his now wife because of how it all began. It was just so, and he said, if you want to blame somebody, blame me. And I said, well, I do, but she's also a consenting adult that came into my home, my shared home, right? And so it's still really hard for me to embrace on any level.
So they consummated their relationship with your knowledge in your marriage bed.
Yes. And in the home where we were co-parenting our children. They were going to do it at her home, but one of her children was sick. And so he said, I work from home? And he said, can you work from a coffee shop?
Ew.
So,
ew. This is so funny. I have an essay in mind. I say that a lot because I have like 170 drafts right now. But as a mom of teens who's dating someone who's a parent of a teen, and that tends to be the case, trying to date with teenagers feels like trying to sneak around and have sex when you're a teenager. You're constantly like, are the kids gonna come home and catch us? Like, ooh, hold on, you can't come here yet, the kids needed this. And I mean, obviously when it's in the early stages, especially, which is what the case is now, but it is a challenging thing, right? Where you're like, where can we go? Are we gonna make out in the car at the drive-in?
Right. And there was a lot of that for them, I think. And there was one night that he and I met another woman for a date together. And as we were driving there, I'm like, what are we doing? Like, our 4 teenagers are at home hanging out, watching movies, and we're going to go have sex with another woman. I just, there were so many disconnects and so many things that just didn't.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Yeah. It was a lot.
And I assume you did not talk to your teens about that. That's kind of or did you?
Absolutely. No. No.
They thought you were going to see a movie.
Daddy just had a date.
She
was very nice.
Do you have any questions?
Right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, mommy was way more into her than daddy. Not really his type, but daddy came along, or the other way around. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That is.
Katrina, we're almost at the top of the hour. I feel like we could talk to you forever.
Hey.
We have a question that we ask everybody the first time that they are on the show, and it's going to be perfect because you are one of us. You are Gen X, 1970s kid, 1970 kid. I am super curious. Dana,
Shall
are you going to
shall
ask
I
a
ask?
question?
I would love to.
So
It's very
nervous.
hard hitting, so get ready. What
Okay.
is
Right.
the
Brace yourself.
Mhm, mhm. What is the most Gen X song of all time?
Living on a Prayer.
Ooh,
Yes,
nice.
that's it.
I
Okay.
know.
You
No
are the
wrong answers. I mean, there's
there's
no wrong answer.
right. This isn't a quiz. We're like,
I feel like
actually, that's the
You're not
number
wrong.
being
7.
graded. We
Just
promise.
popped into my head, and I don't know why.
I feel
Like
like
I
that's
want.
mistake.
that's the truest answer, right? Like
Yep,
the
and
the
we
way that
did
Dana
have.
often frames it is like, so you're watching a movie and it's of the moment, right? Like this is cluing you in that you're watching Gen X characters. Like, what
Mhm.
is the song that's playing that lets you know that you're watching Gen X characters?
That's a really
Yes,
good question.
and I think yours is perfect. My other framing of this is it should be a song that's like a beacon. Like if you're in a crowded space and that song comes on, any self-respecting Gen Xer is like tuning into that song and singing along, and probably no one else in the room is, or not to the same level. And living on a prayer, absolutely. You live for the fight when that's all that you've got. Like anyone,
Ah, we're
you have
halfway there.
wow, living on a yeah. Liz, so my partner in Three Imaginary Girls, the music website I was referring to earlier, is her name is Liz Riley Tillefson. She's amazing. She and back in the day we used to sing karaoke together, and that was our song. And you
And
have to know Liz to know how funny that is, because she's like super indie pop, fade, lo-fi.
Right,
but
emo, yeah.
but also we love the shit out of that song, and we would high five at that part of the song. You live for the fight when that's smack hands, all that you've got.
love it. I love
Yeah,
it. Do
I
I get
think
to know
that's.
yours? Do I have time to know your songs?
We both have a lot,
Oh
right?
my
But
God,
and they
yeah. I've
I
change.
would say that too. Yeah.
We Jason Odell, who is a regular in our chat, he texted this morning and said he wouldn't be able to make it because he's a professional photographer, and he leads like photo tours around the world. So if
right.
you're like one
But
of those
he's in
people,
Italy or
no,
like,
he's in Florida right now.
oh, okay, Florida. Yeah.
He sent me a photo with a car, because we grew up in Florida, with a Carvel ice cream cone. Um,
Nice.
and I was like, oh my God, Jason. But he is keeping a Spotify playlist of all of the picks, so that in aggregate, it's creating this experience. But there is no one song, that's for sure. You're not the first person to pick Living on a Prayer, but I can't remember who the other one was. I think that's been mentioned once
I think
before.
my first pick, because I change it often. My first pick was Sunglasses at Night by Corey Hart.
Oh yeah. Oh
That
yeah.
was my first concert. Corey Hart was my first concert. Also, I think kind of my first
First
musician crush, because I
crush.
thought that he was so
Oh,
cute.
so sweet.
He was so cute.
He
Do you
was
remember?
cute.
I also really loved Never Surrender, and I don't feel like that song has
Oh
like
yeah,
that
no,
song got
that
lost to time, but that like, and when you're lost and on your own, it was so dramatic.
And never
You can
love
never
this.
surrender.
I'm
It
gonna go
was such.
listen to that as soon as we're off.
So
I
am
was
I.
a
I'm kind of
huge
in
fan
the
of
mood.
Adam Ant too back in the day. I loved Goody Two
Oh,
Shoes.
Oh
I
my God, right.
love Adam Ant.
That so that one is like a classic, meets all of Dana's criteria, right? Like I feel
Yes.
like that song comes on, every Gen X person in the room is going to be like, "Oh my
Do do
God,"
do
and
do do do.
everyone else is going to be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yes. Don't drink, don't smoke. What do you do? Like, that's a pretty bold claim. I don't think that would do very well in 2026, but it's such a good song. I
It
saw
is.
Adam Ant as a teenager at Sunrise Music Theater, Lawrence, with Heather, another one of
With
our best
Heather,
friends, and we were
who
like, we
adored Adam
ran.
Ant.
She was very into Adam Ant, and we ran up to the front, and oh, he was so pretty. Like looking back at him, I'm like, Stuart Leslie Goddard. That's his real
Yes,
name.
that is his real name. He was
Okay, I know Living on a Prayer was your first pick, but I think we need to add Goody Two Shoes to the playlist, because that's such a good one.
That is a
Um,
good one.
the first song that always comes to mind for me is Tainted Love by Soft Cell,
Right.
oh
because
yeah.
that is like, you hear those opening notes and like every Gen Xer does this. Doo, 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 doo. But my new working theory is the perfect Gen X band in aggregate that like every Gen X person will respond to, and some maybe some boomers, but like later generations will not respond to, is REO Speedwagon. Like that is a band.
I
Oh,
thought for
That,
sure you were going to say Duran Duran.
no, they're still classic. Like you still hear Duran Duran on the radio all the time. They're still touring. Like they're
Simon
still.
Le Bon has a new song out.
he
Ooh.
does.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's very EDM. I think
Oh,
it's
I
not
could.
above and beyond. He's doing it,
Yes.
but it's like, I don't know. It's not Tiesto, but it's somebody like that. It's like somebody modern EDM has Simon Le Bon
Okay.
doing vocals on a song, and I was just like, God damn, Simon, he can still get it. He can still like sing all the.
He's still good looking too. Katrina, you're
He
at
could
least a
still get
little
it, to be
straight still.
perfectly honest.
Because I saw the way your fate when you were like, he does. I saw the teenage girl and you just be like, hmm? He's
I can
so pretty.
appreciate a beautiful man.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Yes,
be with him, but I can appreciate him.
Right. No,
exactly.
same. I appreciate beautiful women.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not
John,
dating them. I want to hang out with them and talk about penises, but
right. John Taylor, though, I mean, come on. Whew, he's good looking.
he's
So
cute.
yeah, REO Speedwagon, if like those opening notes of like heard it from a friend who like any Gen Xer is just gonna flip out.
That's true.
Absolutely.
So I definitely feel like that one. I don't even know if Take It on the Run is on the playlist, but I think it needs to be because that song will just High Infidelity was the first cassette tape I ever bought.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
that.
right. Memories. So this is the song we always ask folks their first visit. You have
But
answered.
we
Please
will
come back for a
definitely have
second
you back.
visit.
There's still so much more to talk about.
It
And if you,
was so fun to talk to you both.
I
What a
know, please keep us posted how your book is doing. Everyone in the chat, we've been posting the link in here. Go read this. Like Substack is historically for writers, right? I have been noticing even in just the year that we've been here that like they're very much turning their emphasis to lives and to notes, far shorter form writing. But like it is important to keep reading longer form essays, memoirs, novels, like focus on art, put the world down and immerse in storytelling. I think that's the way we move the world is by sharing our stories. So thank you for getting yours out there. 10 years is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you both for having me. It was so
Oh my,
lovely.
Yeah.
it was
Absolute pleasure.
wonderful. And we're having kind of a storytelling week and I didn't plan it this way, it just worked out. Join us tomorrow. We have Open Secrets Magazine, a literary journal on Substack that focuses on people sharing their secrets.
Yes, I love it.
Yes, this should be a fascinating talk. So please join us tomorrow, same time, same place here on the Daily Whatever Show, y'all. Y'all.
Thanks,
I know
Katrina.
you're in
Thanks,
the South, I
everybody.
guess.
Thank you so much.
Love you, mean
Love you,
it.
mean it. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.